Good evening, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Miss Fierce here from the Fierce Trade House. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is my weekly Sunday analysis. Um, Today I've kind of done this a bit later than usual. It's exactly 10:50 p.m. Kenyan time. And the markets should be opening in the next 1 or 2 hours, about midnight Kenyan time. So I'm just doing this in time, and hopefully you guys will catch this and it'll still add value to your weekly trading. So yes, so before I go ahead, I'd like to just say, if this is your first time on my channel, thank you so much for tuning in, and please, by all means, like and subscribe to my channel, and also feel free to smash the notification bell, so that whenever I post up a new video, you'll always get an update. So that being said, we are looking at GU. I just landed on GU. Actually, I've not looked at the charts since Friday. So I just want to go on the weekly time frame. So GU has actually been retesting previous level of structure on the weekly. As we can see, this retest. Okay, so we can see this retest here. So price pushed up, broke the structure here, and then it's just retested this zone here. Okay. Um so just okay, so sorry, I was just editing that, so that, yeah, so basically that's what we are seeing. But on the whole, GU has actually been on a downtrend. Okay, this is since July, okay, of 2014. So, but then we've been kind of like an accumulation phase here, and we're looking like we want to um, retest maybe previous levels of structure here and then continue to the upside. So I kind of think that I still feel like there's room for GU to push up, and that's what I'll be looking at, especially because of the fact that we tested this zone here. Okay, so my take is, even if we push lower, I feel like there's opportunity to continue to the upside. But let me look at the daily time frame. You just hold on, we go back a bit. Let me just mark this out. So when I look at it, yeah, so technically I'm thinking that we may begin to see GU push up, or this is on the weekly, that's what it's looking like. And if I look at the daily, actually it's kind of confirming what I am thinking. We kind of like closed bullish, okay, on Friday, after this really interesting rally to the downside. We broke structure here, so we may retest, previous. We may retest the 1.36118. Let me just, how many pips is that? About 200 pips thereabouts. I'm thinking that would be a fast move up before, let's say, if we are to continue to the downside. But there is potential for price to actually push lower to the 13.0571 and then push up. Okay, so I still feel like this zone, we may want to take out this level here. There's some liquidity up here, but when I look at this a bit closer, there's potential for GU to actually push lower. But again, on the daily time frame, I'm thinking that, we may push up a bit and then continue down and then continue up. So kind of like, excuse me. Kind of like push down, that's really what I'm thinking. Okay. Push up, then, like just push lower, take out. Hold on, guys. My machine is hanging a bit. Actually, when I look at it, even on the daily, I'm trying to look at this a bit more. Let me just go back to the weekly. So there's an interesting zone here, okay, that we may just want, we may just shoot for, okay, we may just shoot for this zone, though I'm thinking that we are going to slowly begin to see GU begin to push up, okay, longer term. So in the short term, we may see continued pressure down, but I don't think we'll, go past the 1.30 level or 1.28927. I just think that, there's possibly some untested zones here that need to be tested, and then we continue up. If not, we'll just start seeing some price action to the upside. Okay. Let me look at the 1 hour. And we can see some reaccumulation kind of happening here. Okay. We may see some, continued sideways movement before we see any clear path. But like I said, I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, so GU has taken out previous levels of structure below here. So the trend may still continue to the downside, okay, and get to this zone. Then I think I'll begin to think of buying around this zone here that I've marked out. So that's basically what I'm looking at on GU, because I feel like we really have been on a downward trajectory most of last week, and I'm looking at it and thinking, yeah, it may be time. We may begin to see some relief and some beginning to bullish price action. But if that doesn't happen immediately, then this zone here is actually a key zone. So we may want to look at it on market open, So let me go to, so that's GBP USD. Let me look at GJ. GJ. So again, GJ is looking similar, yeah? We kind of broke structure here and pushed up. This is on the 4 hour. Let me go first to the weekly. All I'm seeing is kind of like a retest of, previous zone. Okay, so we are literally retesting this zone here. Okay, so I'm feeling like we may reject and continue upwards. So I am also feeling like GU this way in a phase right now. And we'll probably want to take out these highs at 194.909 at some point, which is about, sorry, it's about, you're blocking my view, about 400 pips away. Okay, so that's a possibility. This is on the week. I mean, if you look at it, we've been ranging really technically. And then we started, kind of going into this bearish move here further, but then we've been in this range here for quite a while, and we finally just broke up above this range. So this for me kind of signifies that the buyers are now coming into play, and we may begin to see them push price to the upside. Okay, so that would be my bias as well on GJ. So let me look at Euro USD. So Euro USD has been scaling lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, and lower lows, lower lows, lower lows. But again, we got into a zone here of sorts. So we may see some, continued bearish structure. Okay. And possibly this could even just be, um continue, like kind of like a reaccumulation again, and then, but I'll be waiting to, I mean, unless we break out here, I won't be just jumping into buys. Okay, we are still in this zone. So let me just kind of zoom in a bit. We close the week bearish, and we may be targeting the 1.13391 level, or the 1.08688 level. I mean, so that's about what, 70 to about 400 pips. Okay, so we're in this zone. Okay, we did attempt to break structure here, but then we've just been shifting lower. If you look at it properly, we kind of broke structure here. Okay, to the downside, we broke structure here, mitigated the previous high there, or rather previous zone there, and then again broke structure here, and we're seemingly continuing to the downside. Okay, and we've mitigated this zone again, and we are looking like we're still bearish. So I feel like the market will continue to shift lower. Okay, and possibly at some point will attempt to push back up, but I think only once it has taken out, not taken out, but it has retested this zone here. Okay, so that's like what that's about. We said about how many pips away? Quite a distance, yeah. 500 pips. I won't be surprised. I won't be surprised if we do get there. And I mean, it may be pushed down, and just continue accumulating lower. And then once we get here, we'll probably see a strong move to the upside. So I am long term, I'll want to see EU shift upwards. But right now, I still feel like there's momentum to the downside, just especially by way of the fact, the way this candle closed on the weekly. If I look at the daily, we are seeing, same thing here. Okay, broke structure here. We may retest this zone and continue downward. So there's a lot of bearish pressure, really, when I think about it. Okay, so I'll only be looking at potential sells unless something changes. But right now, bearish on EU on the daily. And no need even to go further down right now. So I'll just stick to my uh, Yeah, we broke this zone, guys, this structure level here, and we just looking bearish. Okay, so we may retest and continue. So let me look at USD JPY. USD JPY is looking bullish. Looking bullish. We haven't quite taken. We kind of retested this previous high here. Actually, we did. This is on the 4 hour though. We took out this high, then began descent. Let me first go on the higher time frame. So this is how it's looking on the weekly, and I'm inclined to just continue bullish. We may retest this zone level here where we broke to the upside. There is that potential to do that, and probably maybe even get lower down here. We have some interesting untested zones below here. Yeah, so I'm still feeling like we want to continue to push up. So we likely maybe push down, then push up. So technically bullish on UJ. Okay, technically bullish on UJ. Just going by the fact, just the way the price action, we see a really strong one up, which forced price to push up. So even if we push back into this bigger accumulation zone, yeah, we'll probably just push in and push back out. Okay, that's now. So let me go to Euro CAD. I want to look at pairs that I usually like to trade. Euro CAD looking very bearish. We closed bearish. Broke structure. And you all can see we haven't yet quite taken out the October low, okay, which is here. Not quite. We may retest that. We are in this interesting zone, and possibly that's why price found itself unable to break through. But looking at how this candle closed on the weekly, looking kind of bearish. Like this could just be a drop-based drop, so possibly a continuation down. So for me, this is a zone I marked last week, and I still think it's valid. I still think that EuroCAD may drop, and then before we see the continuation to the upside, I still think it's a very interesting zone that is still untested. This is at the 1.39417, which is about how many pips from about 400 pips, 460. Yeah, so I'm still, thinking we will push lower. Okay. That's on the weekly. I mean, even if you look at the structure, very, bearish structure. We broke lows here, we broke other lows here. Okay. This candlestick structure is very bearish, and I just feel like, the sellers are still in control and will keep pushing us lower. We have untested zones below here. So there's a lot of liquidity down here, and I feel like we need to take it out if we are to see any other correction to the upside. But generally, UCAD has been in this range. So again, just looking at this range here, we probably will just shoot lower, and then later on in the week, possibly bounce off this structure and start seeing some bullish move coming in. So let me look at Euro AUD. This is on the weekly. And Euro AUD has been bullish, okay? Since 2012, it really rallied up last year, you know, getting to some interesting highs that had not been seen in a while, but not quite breaking previous all-time highs there. And then we began to see this push down, okay? What I'm seeing is there is still room to retest this zone up here. There's still room to retest it. Didn't quite hit this level, okay? And what I'm seeing is we may retest it before we see a continuation down. We may just retest it. Although when I look at the weekly and how this candle closed, to look at it, you know, it closed bearish. But I still feel this would be an interesting zone. We haven't yet quite broken structure, so I'm not really yet thinking that, we'll continue to the downside. This could be a potential turn in price. We can see the previous week we were pretty bullish, but then last week, I guess, because of all the news that was happening, we kind of stopped that from happening. We tested this zone and then, but I feel we are still bullish. Let me see the daily. What is the daily telling me? So there's this level here. This is 1.55292. Okay. That's about what? That's about 70 pips away. So we may push down and then push up. But really, yes, we are looking bearish. But the fact that we pushed up above this previous high here is what is convincing me that, we'll just come retest this and then continue up and then push down. So what I would be looking for is, a shift lower and then a shift up into this zone before we now see a convincing drop, or at least the break of structure here. Okay. If I look at the 4-hour, you can see what I mean when I say there was a break of structure here. Okay. And there's a bit of a break of structure here. So I just feel like, so when I say we broke this previous high, we took out this previous high, and then retested that and are pushing lower, and I'm probably gonna retest a zone here. Okay. But there's a zone below here that remains untested that I think we will likely retest at some point. This is like at 1.54395. So, maybe even come all the way down here before we push up. So Euro AUD, we may open bearish. Okay. Let me look at AUD USD. And AUD USD, let me go on the weekly first. So we see how the week closed here, which is making sense. We pushed up, we tested, and we look like we want to continue. So on the weekly, we are looking bullish. Okay. We retested this zone here at 0.73273, and my feel is that we will now continue to push up. We took out this previous high, and began to form bullish structure, and then we retested the zone and now continue. If I look on the daily, just let me highlight something here. So on the daily, this is a key level, and you can see we broke structure higher up. So we broke this level, we broke this high. Okay. So everything here is just giving me bullish structure. And what we're doing is we are forming higher lows, higher lows. So I don't see any need to retest. There's a possibility to come back all the way down here, okay, on the daily. There's a possibility that could happen. But right now, I'm just like, okay, if that happens, it will probably happen later on after we've seen a move to the upside, and then possibly, let me, what do I want to use? So possibly push up or push, higher up here, and then push lower, and then push to the upside. So my take is there's these levels here that need to be retested, maybe rejected, and then take out this zone here, or retest this zone here that has been left unmitigated, or we would just come back to this zone here and push up. Although I'm not seeing this zone here right now on the daily being very important. So I'll just stick to my bias that we will push up and then possibly retest and then continue up. I'm definitely bullish on AU unless we break these lows completely and just go down, then my bias will change to a bearish bias. But for now, I'm bullish on AUD USD. Let me look at US 30. Let me now go to US 30 and in this. US 30 is looking very bullish. As you can see, we are at an all-time high, or rather we formed an all-time high early in the month. Okay. This is when, actually it was last week that we formed the all-time high, the 36,564. And there's that potential to retest this zone down here and then continue on up. Okay, so this is on the weekly. I mean, the thing with now US 30 where we are, I mean, this is the all-time high, so there's nothing to reference, what would happen in the past, to reference the future. But my take is that with this rejection to the upside, because we closed bearish, okay, it may begin to signify that this rally, there's, the buyers may be losing some steam because this was a really strong momentum to the upside. Buyers could be losing steam. Okay, so we closed kind of bearish. And you can see that we broke this previous high, we took it out completely. So there's potential to retest that and continue on up, or even just push down lower to 35,032 before we continue to the upside. Okay. Right now I'm still bullish on US 30 as well. I mean, nothing has changed. Yes, we closed bearish on the weekly. Let me look at the daily, see. Yeah, so when I look at it, even if we push lower, I'm not sure we'll really, we have some zones here that are untested. Okay, so, but just this momentum up, I'm not sure we will tap into this just yet. We may, okay, we may, actually we may, because we've kind of broken a structure here on the daily. We broke structure on the daily there, but we came back, and so we may push up. So here's my take. Okay, so here's my take. This is what I'm seeing. We'll possibly push up, push down, push up. So it'll be kind of like a, and then push up. So that's one possibility. Okay, that's one possibility. Let me see, how many points is that from where I'm looking? About 130 points. Okay, so for me, I think when market opens, okay, I'll be anticipating some continuation to the upside. Okay, there's a bit of an imbalance here. There's a bit of imbalance, just a bit of imbalance here. So we may try to take that liquidity resting above here, okay, and then drop, okay, because there's also some liquidity resting below here, okay. So once that happens, then I'll be able to confirm my bias. But when I look at it, I'm just seeing if we take out these lows here, we'll just continue shifting lower. But right now, you know, we took out this previous low and are now pushing up. So I'm still thinking, we may continue to push up. Let me go on the 4 hour. 4 hour. So you're seeing this equal highs here, relatively equal highs. We may take out the liquidity there. Let me see. Mitigated. So yeah, there is room to actually push higher. This is about what we said, what 100 and actually 80 pips. Let me go on the 1 hour. So you can see clearly we broke structure here, we broke structure here, we've broken structure here, but now we are kind of shifting up. So we could actually be in an accumulation phase right now. Okay. So if that's the case, if I look at it now, looking at it on the lower time frame with this rejection here, we may just, kind of push slightly lower and then continue on to the upside. Okay, continue on to the upside. Continue on to the upside. Maybe how many pips? About 140 pips, and then we begin to see maybe push lower, take out liquidity again here. If I look at the lower time frame, the structure is bearish. The flow of orders is bearish. So we may just continue lower. Like when I look at it now on the lower time frame, an immediate thing to do is to sell. Okay. But we may attempt up. So we are bearish, okay, but we may attempt to push up. Okay, we may attempt to push up because when I look at it, I mean, we are consistently taking previous highs out, okay, and but the thing with this structure here is this could be the beginning of an accumulation schematic. So even as we push up, we are probably just taking out sellers as we buy, as we take in, or rather, what do I mean? As we begin to transfer orders from sales to buys, okay? Because now I like that, like accumulation. So I'll wait to see how this pans out. Yes, we closed bearish. There was rejection up here, but I still feel there's room to push up a bit before we continue to the downside. But then again, we could be in an accumulation phase, and there could be some fake outs below here before you see structure maybe even pushing higher. So I'm kind of 50-50 on US 30. Structure on the lower time frames is looking bearish, on the higher time frames it's looking a bit bullish. But obviously with US 30, you also want to look at lower time frames because because you can make a lot of money based on just the price movement. So yeah, so this zone is still key. Okay, this is the daily, weekly structure. So we definitely will try and attempt to get to this zone. But on about how we open the market, I think I'll just hold on to that and see what happens at midnight. But structure right now is looking bearish. So ZAU USD. Now gold has been interesting. Okay, gold has been interesting. So last week I told you guys gold would be bullish, and exactly that's what happened. We literally took out all these highs. July highs, August highs, we took them out, closed extremely bullish. So just the way this candle closed on the weekly is really showing a lot of bullish momentum. So my take is we kind of came from a distribution phase into an accumulation phase, and we are probably in a bigger accumulation phase, meaning that we want to continue pushing higher. So I will not be surprised if we get to the 2000 mark, okay, this week. It's very possible because there's a lot of liquidity up here. So I'm bullish on gold. Whatever happens, I'm bullish on gold. We may see something like gold pushing up, pushing down. Okay, so pushing up, uh, pushing down, taking out highs, and just continuing to reaccumulate and then push up. That's what I'm seeing. Okay, that's what it's looking like right now. Okay. So this for me is a bigger, possibly a bigger accumulation. And then maybe once we take that higher, then possibly we'll now begin to see a drop to take out liquidity lower. But I'm bullish on gold. So guys, I don't know if this is helpful. I really hope so. Okay. I hope this has been helpful and will add some value to your own analysis this week. But yeah, let's look at what's happening. You all know that I love to trade gold. So I'll probably be dropping my charts on gold quite a bit, and maybe you guys can just follow me on that. But I really want to wish you guys a happy week ahead, trading week ahead. November is usually a very interesting month. Um, and we can see that just by what happened with gold last week. So yeah. So guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Once again, thank you for subscribing and following and liking and just giving me psych to keep doing this. And I hope to keep on giving you value. So thank you guys and see you soon.